Thank you for listening. A list of content warnings can be found in the episode description. Take care. Enjoy the show. Planescape Torment, the Unofficial audio series. A narrative let's play adapted and produced by RevocerGM. Combining in-game audio with additional voice acting through dialogue and descriptions to improve your listening experience. Rediscover the amazing story of the 1999 cult classic isometric video game, Planescape Torment, like you've never heard before. The sculpture before you resembles an enormous ghoul, complete with sharp claws and a black obsidian tongue. It stands motionless and stares straight ahead. There is no indication that it is more than just a marble statue, but you cannot help feel that at any moment it could strike with visceral speed.
Careful, Cutter. It bites.
A chittering voice emits from an oddly shaped skull on one of Lothar's crystalline shelves. Who are you?
I'm Goatscomb. I was a were-rat.
Were-rat? How did you get here?
It's embarrassing. I was in rat form, looking for some food at the bottle and jug, when let's just say I never expected a serving wench to have a silver fork. And I wound up here.
Silver? That really work?
Silver. Or a magic weapon. Poison works too. Normal weapons don't work so well, though. There was a time I got folks to shoot me full of arrows. Didn't do anything but sting. I looked like a porcupine.
Good to know. Anna and Dakon wait for you by the divan in the center of Lothar's salon. It is not a pleasant thought knowing your next step is to return to the dank of the Catacombs, but you have little choice if you'd like to see Morte free again. And so, you slide the couch aside, revealing a trapdoor below. The reek of stagnant water and wet fur fills your nose as you make your descent. Down here, the rough-hewn walls are coated in a congealed slime that reminds you of the sludge gathered in the center of the buried village.
Back down to it, I suppose.
You don't mind joining us?
If this leads to the tombs, you'll need someone who knows where they're going.
Do you spend a lot of time in the catacombs for Farad? Or you mostly in the hive?
Both. And Chris likes to think he's the best of the tomb crackers, but that's only because Farad keeps sending him down. If he were to bump off, it's no skin from anyone's back. But the hive can be just as leery, mind. Sure, you won't get ghouls or whatnot, but you're either ducking from chefs or dodging the harmonium.
I have to ask, what were you doing looking for bodies in the pregnant alley? I mean, you would have had to creep your way through the tenement, then past the Dabbas to get there. And the place isn't even heavily trafficked as the rest of the hive, so why would you even look for bodies there? Anna shrugs.
Rest of the hive is picked clean. It is. You got to find new spots to poach deaders, you do.
As Anna speaks, you feel a crawling sensation in the back of your skull, and you start to realize that she's not telling the whole truth. Anna, are you sure? There must be something in your tone, because it stops the swishing of Anna's tail dead for a moment. Then it resumes, a little slower than before.
Aye, I think.
She frowns, and she seems a little uncertain.
I don't usually go there to scarp deaders. I don't. Now to think of it, I'd never been there before. I just kind of came across it.
So why then?
I dunno. I just did. And lucky for you I did, or you'd still be there.
The same crawling sensation as before worms up the back of your skull, and with it comes another realization. While Anna is masking the truth, it doesn't seem to be intentional.
Anna, were you compelled to go there? Is that how you found me?
She nods, slowly.
Aye. Mayhap. It wasn't one of my usual haunts, but I couldn't help myself. I just wanted to see what was there that day, and there you were, dead as a timber. You were like a lodestone, you were. I don't even know what led me to find you.
Further down the passage, you hear the muttering of voices. About a dozen lurid figures, obscured in the dim torchlight, are in the heat of some frantic argument. They burst from their huddle, several loping off into adjoining tunnels, and reveal in the center a familiar figure, the hunched were-at chieftain from the Warrens of Thought. His eyes flash with voracious interest as you approach.
Mantuak.
Ah, the biped comes, now slinking into the nest of Lothar's servants.
What are you doing here?
I am the voice of many as one and the emissary of Lothar, master of the bones. I speak here and you answer. What do you want here?
You work for both of them. Doesn't that test your loyalty?
And why should it? The master knows the secrets of power, and the many know the secrets of the city. Perhaps one day I shall play them against each other and become the greater for it. Many as one sees many advantages in such an arrangement, and the conversion of the buried village dwellers can help to extend the reach of Lothar, and many as one all benefit. Yes, yes.
Conversion of the village dwellers? What do you mean?
Shh. None of your business. Now, what is your purpose here?
None of your business.
All that transpires here is my business. Speak, or my ratkin shall feast upon your flesh for all eternity.
Very well. I'm on a quest for Lothar. I'm looking to retrieve a skull. One that he needed someone of competence to retrieve.
The rat man ducks his head at the mention of Lothar and hisses at you.
Send a hairless one to do the job of the kin? Impossible.
Nonetheless.
Begone then, and return when the skull is in your hands.
He pauses and looks at you suspiciously.
Have you a skull yet?
No.
Lothar's portal, unlike any you've seen before, is held open. No key or activation on your part, but a vaporous mass swirling about the wall. As you approach, the echoing of the master's voice bids you onward. Enter. Dakon, stoic as usual, readies his glaive and steps through. Anna, raising her eyebrows, urges you forward. As you pass, your feet land on the slick flagstones of the catacombs, and the stench of rotting meat and bat guano fills the air as the odd chattering of varghouls echoes about the tunnel. Several of their winged forms swoop down from the shadows. Dakon immediately fells two with one swipe. A third singes in your arcane flames, and Anna pins a fourth to the wall. It squirms beneath her blades, black blood oozing from its mouth as a probing tongue curls about her arm. With a flash of steel, its severed jaw flops to the ground. The hideous thing twitches and sputters. Anna peers over as the flesh about its face warps horridly and curls, shifting to mimic her own.
You blighter!
With a frantic stomp, she crushes it into a pulp.
Oh, I hate those things.
You all right?
Oh, don't touch me. Oh, give me the creeps.
Anna guides you through the catacombs, expertly navigating the corridors with little hassle. Although while managing to avoid the danger, she insists upon frequent detours into unchecked tombs. Most you find empty of all but ash and bones, but occasionally come upon a crypt of more elaborate design, sending Anna into an obsessive focus, inspecting every crack in the stonework for traps or secret openings.
You need to pay mind to your surroundings. When you step into an area, take a look around. Anything out of sorts? A draft in a sealed corridor? A section of floor with a weird design? An important looking chest that's put squat in the middle of the room? That's when you look for traps, you do.
Your eyes drift about, taking in the intricate detail of this tomb. The entirety of the floor, ceiling, and walls is one dizzying mosaic pattern.
The most important thing is that someone had to set the trap, and that they had to know about it once they set it. There was one time when I was entering the Grand Demesne in the clerk's
A
ward.
richly decorated sarcophagus lies at one end. Names and warnings appear to have been inscribed onto the heavy stone lid, but have been chipped away into illegibility. Something about blood and ancients.
And the fact that the carpet was new around the floor of the cabinet told me I'd fitted it recently. So I pried it up with me dags, and dead sure there were acid stains on the stones beneath.
You follow the pattern down its side and notice a slight depression about the base, where the color appears to have been scraped from the tiles.
So, I knew to look for an acid blossom when I popped the cabinet and nicked his corpus.
I think I see something.
Oh, aye, good work. Now look for the danger.
Above, you see large metal caps jutting out of the ceiling. They look like they may have controlled airflow into the crypt, but have rusted completely shut.
Some kind of gas, maybe? Mayhap. Let me see.
Anna carefully runs a finger about the edge of the tiling before finding the catch of some kind of pressure plate.
Got it. Alright, quick, pop the lid while I hold it close.
You slide the heavy slab over, the mechanism now nulled, and reveal an alarmingly well-preserved body. Rich jewels and bright chains adorn its neck, and clutched at its chest is a rod shaped like the foot of some large bird. Anna's eyes glint as she holds it close to her face.
Jackpot.
Anna,
Did you find anything on my body before you brought it to the mortuary?
Anna looks at you, warily, and her tail stops flicking for a moment, then resumes, slower than before.
Aye. Mayhap I found something. But if I found anything, it's mine by right. It is. The other bits are in Farad's keeping.
Anna, what did you find on my corpse?
Well, you had some fist irons, you did. And a little bit of junk, but I left that for the dusties so they'd think I was a wee bit honest. You did have an ugly ring that I kept.
She dips her finger into her arm braces and pulls forth a small silver band mounted with a red stone.
Worth thrice more than the junk and the irons it was.
She studies the ring and squints.
Too bad it's too ugly to wear.
Can I have it back? She frowns, glances at you, then back at the ring, and with a sneer, she flicks it to you.
Well, didn't want the ugly thing anyway, I didn't...
Fine. Now, you mentioned that some of the stuff from my body had gone into Farad's keeping.
Aye. Farad takes a bit off each corpse we find, he does. It's his right, being lord of the village and all.
That's a lot of corpses.
Oh, aye. To hear tell, old Stuttercrutch has got a stash pit somewhere close to him. It's the only reason why I can see you set up Kip in that filthy, drafty hall it is. Nothing but stink and shadows. Why, you ask? You planning to bob him?
No.
Good. Farad can be daft sometimes, but he's mean as all fiend spit when he gets worked up. And I wouldn't want to be the one to do that.
Fair enough. Let's move on. Continuing your exploration, you try and keep track of the twists and turns. In the dim light and overwhelming complexity, it is no easy feat, and this punctuated search goes on for some time. Eventually, Anna leads you to a wide passage, apparently the entrance to an infamous tomb, known by the collectors simply as the Trap Crypt. It is not hard to figure out how it got that name. Clanking metal pipes jolt and shudder about the walls, and you hear an uncomfortable whirring from below. The ground is comprised of metal grates coated in dried blood, and vents to some dark pit below continuously belch out a vile warm air that reeks of death. As you step forward to inspect the place, Anna holds out an arm.
No. This is a job for an expert. Maybe sometime.
Her tail stiffens, and she bites her lip in concentration as she crouches down and begins her routine checks along the first of the panels before you. Not wanting any interruptions as she works, she bids you and Dakon wait back, giving you a moment to recover from these relentless past few days. You reach into your pack and draw out the unbroken circle of Zerthamon and begin your study of the 5th lesson in the Way of the People. Zerthamon was the first to know the way of freedom, yet it was not he that first came to know the way of rebellion. The knowing of rebellion came to the warrior queen, Gith, one of the people. She had served the Illithids upon many of the false worlds as a soldier, and she had come to know war and carried it in her heart. She had come to know how others might be organized to subjugate others. She knew the paths of power, and she knew the art of taking from the conquerors the weapons by which they could be defeated. Her mind was focused, and both her will and her blade were as one. The turning in which Zerthamon came to know Gith, Zerthamon ceased to know himself. Her words were as fires lit in the hearts of all who heard her. In hearing her words, he wished to know war. He knew not what afflicted him, but he knew he wished to join his blade to Gith. He wished to give his hate expression and share his pain with the Illithid. Gith was one of the people, but her knowing of herself was greater than any Zerthamon had ever encountered. She knew the ways of flesh. She knew the Illithids, and in knowing herself, she was to know how to defeat them in battle. The strength of her knowing was so great that all those that walked her path came to know themselves. Gith was but one. Her strength was such that it caused others to know their strength. And Zerthamon laid his steel at her feet. You look to Dakon as he puffs at his strange decorated pipe, the carved tentacles coiling about the bowl, the ornate stem clutched in his spider-like hands, the blue smoke that drifts and swirls above, mirrored by the rippling of the Karak blade on his lap. And consider, for the first time regretfully, who he was before you'd met him on this journey together.
Dakon, what is it you wish to know?
You recall a few words shared by the Githzerai warrior in the Red Pony Inn.
What is Shrakt lore?
The steady bellow of pipe smoke falters, and he turns to stare hard into your eyes.
Shrakt lore was a great city of the people. A bastion in the chaos of limbo, where we lived innumerable, holding order within our minds to maintain our place within the shifting plane. Lived. Shrakt lore fell to the chaos, and many of the people fell with it. I'm sorry. Is it gone forever? Some say the people gather to hold order and once again reform the bounds of the city. But I do not know. I have not seen Limbo for many years. Why did it fall? Catchalai drowning. I cannot answer all of this. Apologies. I didn't mean to. I have read The Unbroken Circle.
I would speak to you more in the way of Zerthamon.
What did you come to know?
There is great strength in numbers, but there is great power in one. For the strength of the will of the one may gather numbers to it. There is strength not only in knowing the self, but knowing how to bring it forth in others. You have come to know the fifth circle of Zerthamon. With this knowing, I impart this to you. He once again twists the links, so a new plate slides forth. Meditate upon its teachings, and the knowing of it shall give you strength. Reflexively, Dakon's fingers feel around the edges of the stone circle, and he twists it clockwise, the links clicking until they have settled into a new configuration. He then reverses the motion, resetting the stone. What is actually drowning? I've heard you say it before, and Halcyon said it last night. Dakon's face relaxes slightly, and the faintest smile curls about his lips. It is said when the speaker is telling you the answer to your question would serve no purpose. Noted. Know that it would carry the intent that the question be shaped so that it is more specific. I see. Who was Achali? Upon the plane of limbo, we must shape the plane with our minds, or the chaos of the plane will devour us. Achali was one of the people who did not know herself. Time came upon her when she lost herself in the chaos matter of the plane. She knew not how to return to a community, so she shaped a small island with her thoughts, and she waited. In waiting, she met a traveler swimming through Limbo's sea. Achali is said to have called out to the traveler to ask the way home. Only one question need she have asked. Know you the way to my home? Yet she asked, what know you of the plane? The traveler knew much, and much of what was said was new to Achali. Her questions grew, feeding upon the answers, until she knew not where she was, and knew not that she must maintain focus. The small island she shaped dissolved into the chaos matter, and she drowned. It is a lesson that tells us the harm in asking without purpose. The glaive across Dakon's lap turns a cold gray, like a sheet of cracked ice. And what is T'Cha's choice? I would know how you came to know that expression. You spoke it while talking with Halcyon in the Gith language. In fact, you said a number of things in that conversation that interested me. I would know what you meant by it. It is an expression that knows many meanings. Then tell me one of them. T'Cha's choice speaks of one who has no choice in their action. His glaive ripples, and you watch the edges become dull. His face clenches, and he speaks through his teeth. It is not my will to speak of this. Very well. At least not for now.
All right, come on, nearly through.
Anna's voice echoes down the passage. She has marked a series of grates and panels safe to step upon, creating a pathway to the end of the tunnel where she waits. Before her is a strange container set upon a pedestal with hinged hatches on either side.
There's some mechanism of the box, but I just can't get it. I think if we open it, these hatches will swing down, but that seems too easy for a place like this. So I suspect there's more. Worse than a Beitsu playground it is here.
All right. Well, what do you need us to do? Her tail swishes slowly, and she bites her lip.
Open it? What? Hold on. You open it, me and Pops have a rope around your waist and pull you back the instant we hear a noise. I'm waiting for the part that makes any sense. Oh, come on! I've seen you close a wound faster than a fated at skip a beggar. What's the worst that could happen? You're absolutely insane. I's led you to the alley. I's kept you on the path down here. I'm asking for just a little in return. No one has ever gotten to this crypt before now. And I ain't leaving till I see what's in that box.
Within a minute, you are standing squarely in front of this metal container, a length of rope fastened about your waist, with Anna and Dakon several feet back and to either side, ready to pull you towards them the moment there's any danger.
Okay, now, it'll likely be a blade trap or something. Likely? What else could it be? Well, no way to know. There's a gap above that could drop something and 2 holes in the wall that might shoot out.
Great.
Now, we're watching and listening, so don't flex, alright? When we pull, you let us fling you back, okay?
Alright, let's just get this over with. I'm ready.
You lean forward, feeling the tug of rope as it tightens. The container itself is an abominably shaped thing, like some giant metallic beetle with rusted pincers. You've no doubt whatever is about to happen is going to hurt. You just hope Anna and Dakon pull you back quick enough to avoid losing a limb. You place your hands upon the lid.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
You flip the top as quickly as possible and glance inside. Nothing. A few dusty bones and a yellowing skull. Its chipped teeth almost appear to be grinning. And then you hear a loud ratcheting and the scything of a great blade.
Back!
As predicted, a disc of steel spins down from above, just as 2 rusted spears shoot out from the holes on either side. Anna and Dakon are quick to react, and your stomach tightens as you are yanked clear. What you hadn't predicted, however, were the sword-like spines that are now jutting out from the grate below as you launch towards them. You pivot on your feet, twirling to redirect your fall, tripping you back towards a stabbing spear on the left. It just grazes your ribcage, but avoiding it sends you reeling into the path of the great spinning blade.
Watch out!
You careen towards the only space that isn't now filled with razor-sharp death. There is a snap, and the rope severs. Stumbling, you fall into one of the open hatches and plummet into the darkness below. The ground down here is soft. Mercifully, you think at first. That is until your senses reawaken and the vile, reeking air fills your lungs. The spongy nature of what you are lying upon sinks in as you press your hand through the broken ribcage of a long, decaying body.
I hear you. Are you alright? Yeah, I guess. You?
We're fine.
Great. Anything in that box?
No.
Great. Can you see a way up? I can't see much of anything. One moment.
A flare of light appears in the shaft above as Dakon dangles a lit torch halfway down the chasm, illuminating the space about you.
Oh, hells.
You almost wish he hadn't. You now find yourself in a revolting cesspit of half-rotten corpses. Welling up in the center is a sickening pool of congealed blood and severed limbs. Rusted machinery that would presumably power the devices above tick and falter, jammed with gore. Gathered at the edges are several mutilated bodies. One looks to be more fresh, but you are loath to use that word in describing its current condition. It has been horribly mangled. It looks like it was burned, stabbed, sliced, bludgeoned, and forced through a grate. Most of it is in two halves, lying in a crusted pool of old blood. A faint aqua blue light swirls about it, and you can just make out a grimaced face with a set of glinting metal teeth smirking from the ooze. Nice grill.
Oh, thank you kindly.
Whoa. What?
I didn't mean to fright you. I hadn't thought I'd see anyone's down here.
Me either. Are you dead?
Aye, back. You?
I don't think so.
Oh, you look it.
Who are you?
Lawton, eh? Me, Bert, and sometimes Rhys, though he were nothing but a bossy piker. And he was with us the last time. We're kings of the Catacombs. The Prowlers. I don't know where Bert is now, though. Probably dead. Too young, poor sod. We lost that balmy Arkin first, though. Thank the powers. And Chad, he went off on his own, as he does.
What happened to you?
I made a wrong turn when we was running away from where we dumped Chris. Bolted in here. And before I realised my mistake, I got my pieces shoved down the grate. And now... now not even the Dusties will pay for this lot.
What happened to Chris?
A story of its own. Mostly my idea it was, and it came off all right at first. But I didn't have no clue what I was doing. Did some looking around, found out where a ghoul had made its home, and thought we'd take old Gris down there. Turns out that ghoul had made more ghouls, and they nearly had us. Shoved Gris inside, and took off like the lady herself was after us. Betting Gris is dead now.
Probably. I have a question for you.
Or mayhap I'll tell. Mayhap I won't. Ask your question.
I'm looking for a lost tomb. Beyond the Drowned Nations. You heard of it?
Huh? Beyond? Could be anywhere. We calls this place the Weeping Stone, on account of the water off in the ceiling and the crying faces on the walls. Plenty of crypts down here. And plenty more we've not plundered. All that water's got to go somewhere. I used to know this place like the back of my hand, but it's all going dark on me now.
Then go dark. Farewell. The shimmer of light fades, and Lawton's spirit falls silent. Above, in the red glow of the hanging torch, you just make out the rungs of a ladder welded into the wall beneath the shaft. But as you step towards it, something catches on your boot, causing you to slip in the filth. Damn it. A dismembered arm, as hard as a wooden club, almost seems to clutch its fingers about your ankle. Stupid thing. It's odd, though. Even though it appears many decades old, it is more petrified than rotted. It looks like it was severed cleanly at the shoulder, most likely by a scythe blade, and it is covered with scars and intricate tattoos, spiraling up from the wrist all the way to the remains of the shoulder. They are strangely familiar to you. As you trace your fingers across one of the lines, a faded feeling flickers in your memory. Loneliness, fear, shame. You can't explain why, but you feel compelled to bring the arm with you. Perhaps the artist Fell might be able to discern the tattoo's meanings. You wrap it in a bolt of rags and climb to the passage above.
Well, that wasn't too bad, was it?
I'm not going to answer that. Let's move on. Anna leads you now on a more focused path, heading downwards, deeper into the tombs to the familiar damp of the Drowned Nations, where the city's sewers gather. All three of you are on high alert, well aware of the treachery to be found in these dark waters.
I hate it down here. No bob's ever worth swimming for.
Yeah, not too fond of it myself. Before you is a narrow tunnel, lined with more of the odd stone-carven faces. Like the ones you'd seen before, they are unnervingly lifelike. Filthy tracks pour from their mouths and eye sockets, and their expression is held in a look of wrought anguish, struck with muck-ridden tears. As you pass beneath one of these twisted stone faces, it slowly begins to shift and groan.
Oh, this again?
Mortal, regard me. I am Glyve. I would have words with you.
What did you want to say?
Listen, this place holds much danger to you. Treachery awaits you on the surface, and your way is long and winding. At the end, you will find what you have sought, but you may not want it then.
Are you some sort of oracle?
Oracle? No. I observe. That is all.
How did you come to be like this?
I was once a respected leader of my community. A petty lord sought to increase his power at the expense of my people, my friends, my relatives, and I spoke against him.
And then what?
And then he captured us, one by one, and bound our spirits and senses into these screaming faces under the ditch, where all the filth and sigil comes eventually. And then he let the polluted waters above flow through our mouths and noses and eyes.
Is there anything I can do to help?
We are cursed to remain here until fresh water passes our lips. There is a flask enchanted with the purest of water in the drowned nations. Bring it to me and give me a taste of it, and I shall tell you of someone who can unlock its full potential, and you shall never lack for water again.
Where is this flask?
I do not know. Deeper within the drowned nations.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
The expression on Anna's face as you continue on is one of bemusement, amazement, possibly disdain even.
I've known you for not even a full peak-to-peak day, and this has happened twice. What are you?
You don't even know the half of it.
You always been like this, Pops?
As long as I have known him.
Right. Seriously, though?
Anna, I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know what I am. Who I am, even. You found me lying dead in an alley. But I woke up alive in the mortuary with no memory of any past life. I've spent this past 10 days trying to figure that out. I was hoping Farad would know something more. It seems this has gone on for some time. Anna goes quiet for a moment as you walk. Anna?
Eh?
You still want to stick around?
Oh. Eh? At least till we make it out these tombs.
For the next few hours, you follow the gentle current of the drowned nations, cautiously navigating around the pools and along a wide canal that terminates at a basin. The water flows quickly here, spilling through a large drainage grate in the center, and you notice the hinges of the grate have been forced open, wide enough for you to climb down. An icy draft rises from this drain, and as you wade into the bowl, you hear the faintest whisper, barely audible above the rushing water. You cannot make out what it says, and after a second, it is gone. But you have the sense that you have been here before, and a strong feeling about the place.
I'm going in alone. Wait out here for me. Are you certain?
Yes.
You still have that rope?
Filthy, frigid water cascades over your chest and shoulders as you climb down. And after several feet, you are dangling over some kind of cistern chamber. A thin rim of paving runs around the circumference that rounds to an archway built into the side. The light from Dakon's torch above flickers over the pool, bouncing about the walls, and you see the words, "Engineered for Eternity," carved into the stonework.
Here's to it then.
Emerging, you clamber onto the slick path before the entranceway, the falls clattering behind you, and look upon the gate to this tomb. The arch itself is outlined with the thick metal tubing that seems to weave throughout sigil-like arteries, and in the torchlight, the bronze-paneled doors shimmer and glint. A faded smear of blood mars the center. You push open the gates, and a cool light washes over you, almost blinding compared to the gloom behind. As your eyes adjust, you see a network of chambers within. Wow. The beauty of this tomb is incredible. The ground, a series of colorful tiles, jasper, jade, quartz, amethyst, all perfectly carved and laid with the finest precision. The walls, plated with polished copper scales and bright gold, resemble the skin of some vast serpent. Great trunk-like pillars reach above, their branches corniced to envelop the ceiling, that is itself encrusted entirely with pearlescent crystal, the radiating source of the cool white glow. Despite all the opulence of this tomb, however, there is little to inform you on its inhabitant. There is a shrine recessed into an alcove that holds a large urn, flanked by several statues on either side. And while each figure appears to depict the same singular man, their features have been smashed apart, masking any semblance of a face. Above the urn is a plaque that reads, "At last, I have you. Never again will you torment me, for no mortal man can escape these walls. Seek the keys and embrace death with each that you find. Only then shall you be free." Embrace death. We'll see. What you do see, trailed by droplets of half-dried blood, is the ruined heap of a recently dead corpse towards the center of this chamber. The body is twisted and bent, as if whoever this was died in incredible pain. It is wrapped in the remains of what were once collector's robes, now burnt and torn to shreds, and you see the face of a man, frozen in what looks to be surprise. What exactly killed him is hard to tell. It could be anything from the numerous slashes across his chest, the gaping and now festering wound at his right shoulder, or the scorch marks that seem to overlay it all. What happened to you? At this point, it no longer comes as much of a surprise when a wisp of blue shimmers between you and this corpse, and his blackened teeth begin to chatter.
I must run. Why do I feel so numb? Am I drunk? I can't feel my hands.
All me legs. Who are you?
Well, who in the nine hells are you? Show yourself.
Oh, by the hairy ass of Pan himself, I'm dead, aren't I?
Afraid so.
I always knew it'd come down to this. Tell me, Cutter, am I still in the tombs?
Yes.
Oh, figures. Aye, it does. Do them a good turn and they'll do nothing for you. I heard them start running, me bloods. What happened to them, eh? Where be Bert, Lawton? They make it, or are they in the dead book?
They're dead.
Aye, good. Yet to think they got away clean with me left down here.
What happened to you, anyway?
Oh, that's a story, Burke. Long and short of it, me and me boys had just popped some Crypt in the upper tombs. It was harder than picking a chastity belt, I'm telling you. After tearing and prying at the door for a little past eternity, got in when me blood starts shouting, and this thing, I'm fighting it, and they bolt. Pissheads.
So how'd you get here?
Well, that's the long part. Let's just say no ghoul comes between Rhys and his loot.
Rhys? Huh. Well, I've heard a lot about you.
Oh, aye. All nonsense, the lot of it. Whoever told you, give him my worst regards. Who was it? Quint?
Perhaps.
No stuffing filled pox-ridden horse and probably still whining about his missing charm. Well, if that's what you're down here for, you're in the wrong place, Burke. That thing will be scattered across some tomb.
You mentioned loot.
Oh, Burke. If I wasn't dead, you can bet you'd never be dragging that chant from me. But
he pauses philosophically.
But since I am a deader now, me pack underneath me.
You roll his body over and uncover a satchel, soaked with the filth of the drowned nations.
A few pretty charms, but best of all, the jug that snarky git Chad had been searching so dear for.
Jug?
Aye. It doesn't look like much, but 'tis enchanted, it is. Said to contain a door to the plane of water. Just need the command.
I see. You take up the bag, and along with an array of worthy jewels and coins, there is a simple clay jar with a cork stopper, a mouthful of fresh water still tinkling about inside.
Oh, but that's not all, Cutter. This tomb, here, around you. I've been looking for this for an age, and I finally found it. Almost worth getting burned for.
What do you know about it?
Well, not much. But just look around you. You ever seen anything like it?
Not really. You said burnt. What got you?
I wish I could tell. After all I went through to get here, it was nothing compared to this. You watch yourself. My guess, everything here is laced with some death. Incredible it is.
Good to know.
No, hold on, Cutter. Can I ask something of you?
Go ahead.
If you figure it out, how to get to the heart of this place, you take me with you.
What?
Bring me to it. The center. Whatever is there, I don't mind. I just want to reach it. Make it all worthwhile.
I'll see what I can do.
With little else to start with, you head back to the shrine. The urn is very ornate, with scenes depicting the struggle between warring fiends embossed on the side. As you lean over to inspect the contents, a surge of heat rises from the rim, searing your palms.
Ah, damn it.
Now you can see it. Arcane sigils trace down through the tiles, swirling towards the center of this chamber, forming a symbol upon the ground. It is familiar.
You cannot see it in its entirety, but just looking causes a deep pain within you, within your teeth, within your bones. You follow the edges of the symbol along the ground, up the pillars and to the ceiling, and there it is, hanging above like a guillotine, the bladed symbol of Torment, the very same inked upon your left shoulder. The light about you starts to dim, but burning in the center, the symbol appears to grow brighter, sharper, until it is all that you can see. You try to move, but are locked, limbs like stone. The air around you fizzles and cracks. Your skin begins to scorch. Your blood boils.
Now, what did I tell you? Incredible. Feels like I've been through a shredder. Aye, miracle you survived. Oh, did you?
With your joints stiff and your skin sore, you struggle back to your feet.
Seems that way. What are you? Yeah, still trying to figure that out. All right, let's try this again.
Wise now to the danger, you avoid the path of the glowing sigils, and begin now to inspect the short corridor that leads to what appears to be the central chamber. You can see a large sarcophagus within, and presume it to be the resting place of this tomb's inhabitant. The corridor itself has an almost organic feel, like a gullet to the belly of this beast. You carefully inch your way through the threshold, inspecting every crack in the tiles for a flare of light or the click of a mechanism. But nothing. You press against the wall and step through. As soon as your foot strikes the ground, a sickening wave pulses through your body, and you feel a lurch as if the floor had suddenly tipped. You then stumble forward, suddenly on firm ground again, but in an entirely different chamber.
What the hell's happened?
It almost perfectly resembles the first, except this one, instead of the great bronze-clad double doors, has a bronze casket. More intricate carvings adorn it, showing a thicket of barbed and knotted briars.
Find the keys and embrace death. All right.
You approach the casket, the light above dimming with every step. You can feel the buildup of energy in the air, and when you reach the coffin, it is warm to the touch. You make to push open the lid, but as you do, a blast of thunderous energy shunts you back, crashing you into the center of the glowing symbol.
Worse than last time.
You seem to have been transported somehow back to the first chamber.
I must say, Cutter, never did I think I'd have so much fun while being a deader. Balmy what the planes will do. Well, we're not done yet.
Stepping back into the corridor, you land in the second chamber and stride immediately towards the casket, and without hesitation throw open the lid. Blood sprays before you as dozens of icy shards splinter throughout your chest.
Hells!
You nearly pass out with the pain, but with blurry vision, you grasp at the contents of this box, finding a small key fashioned like a thorn.
All right. How many more of these?
The ice melts out of your skin, pooling with your blood over the tiles, outlining the curve of the cruel symbol. And you carefully head back into the corridor. But again, the ground shifts, and to all your frustration, you are back where you had just been, your blood still spreading at your feet.
This isn't where I wanted to go.
The searing symbol above begins to flare, and defeated, you slump to the ground.
Full marks for perseverance, I will say.
You are back by the main entrance, but this time with the thorned key in your hand.
Okay, I think I got this.
The first corridor leads to the central chamber, which itself has several adjoining corridors that lead to other chambers. Stepping through before led you to one of them. So, you suspect that with this key, you'll now be transported to a different one. It takes a little time and a world of pain, but each of the chambers you are transported to houses a different casket depicting new scenes and matching keys, motifs of life, death, and rebirth, along with depictions of the cosmology of the multiverse. You have an uneasy feeling in your stomach as this all starts to feel overly familiar.
This has to be the last time. Hey. Don't forget me. I haven't.
Now with the third key acquired, you heave the broken body of Rhys onto your shoulders and tread once again into the corridor. You wince at your first step, but after a few seconds, nothing. The air remains still, and the cool glow constant. Relieved, you pass through into the central chamber. It is much in the same grandiose fashion as those surrounding it, but each of the walls houses a smooth stone panel, and in the center, another large sarcophagus, though this one is made of black granite inlaid with veins of melted gold. A thing of majesty, even if measured only by the apparent cost of the thing.
By Abathor's bloody scales. This place, whosever's this is, must have been... Well, there are rumors of dragon hordes and the like. But this... interesting theory.
The sarcophagus has no carvings upon it, but instead is perfectly polished smooth. So much so that you have a hard time finding the seam of the lid. When you finally do, you strain trying to raise it, but your efforts are in vain. It appears to be locked firmly in place.
Any ideas? When tomb cracking, not everything comes down to brute force. This crypt is the work of a master. There must be a more elegant solution.
Right. Looking around, the craftsmanship here is exquisite. The stone panels are inset into the wall with a precision that only a master craftsman could achieve, and each have been inscribed with some text. Some are pristinely neat, as though chiseled by a careful, methodical hand, and others less so, and detract from the workmanship of the panel itself.
What little life there is in the world is draining out this hole in my body. The world can burn. The planes can burn. Just give me life. I will destroy this life so badly, break it, smash it, and stain it in blood and feces, so you cannot live it either. Let all creation burn, for I cannot die. You okay, Burke? Yeah. Just reminds me of someone.
You move on to the next. And while you had begun to suspect something, this inscription makes your stomach drop.
I know you feel like you've been drinking a few kegs of Styx wash, but you need to center yourself. Among your possessions is a journal that'll shed some light on the dark of the matter. Farad can fill you in on the rest of the chant, if he's not in the dead book already. Don't lose the journal, or we'll be up to Styx again. And whatever you do, do not tell anyone who you are or what happens to you, or they'll put you on a quick pilgrimage to the crematorium. Do what I tell you. Read the journal, then find Farad.
What the... These are the directions tattooed on your back that Morte read to you in the mortuary. But to add to your surprise, there's one more line, one that Morte didn't read. Don't trust the skull. Feeling a little dizzy, you continue on to the next.
It is extremely important to record your journeys so that you might learn from them. The greater need, however, is that the sources of information you use to uncover this mystery need to be protected when they are found. If key figures, documents, or oracles are somehow removed, either by death or destruction, then you will never know who or what you are, or how you came to be this way.
Looking closely, you think the panel can recess further, and with the slightest pressure of your hand, it slides into the wall. You hear a click from the sarcophagus behind you.
You got it. Now, do the rest. I suspect that we'll continue to die and be reborn until we finally get our life right. I do not know what we have to do to bring that about, though, and therein lies the frustration. Is it some sort of karmic cycle? As I gather, some incarnations have committed terrible crimes, but also there have been a number of incarnations where we have labored to do nothing but good. Are these incarnations intended as punishment? I don't know. And that is the only real truth I can offer in these carvings. I do not know. At what point does the I get separated from the we? At what point am I freed of the shackles of the actions of these other incarnations? At what point am I allowed to be me without the weight of these past lives?
The panel effortlessly slides into the wall.
I have lost lifetimes because of my killer. I cannot deceive him, so I must kill him. I tried to throw off the scent. I left false bodies tailored in such a way to placate him. I roamed the most outer planes, hoping to use distance as a shield. I built this tomb, filled with traps to try and kill the killer. I hid. All I bought was time. The attacks inevitably begin again, with more fury than before. Deceptions are useless. Somehow, the killer always knows that I live, and no matter where on the plains I hide, he finds me, eventually. There is nothing that can be done. Memories are gone, perhaps never to return. With every death, I lose a part of me. How can one be immortal and still die? He told me that my mind is weakening with every death. I asked him how this could be, but he could not answer. He was of no use. I butchered him so that no other incarnation would ever benefit from his uselessness.
Another panel glides into the wall with a slight hiss.
So they said, you have been divided. You are one of many men. You bear many names, and each has left their scars on your flesh. Lost One, Immortal One, Incarnation's End, Man of 1,000 Deaths, the one doomed to life, Restless One, one of many, the one whom life holds prisoner, the bringer of shadows, the wounded one, Doomslayer, Misery Bringer, Yemeth. I grow weary. Fear names. Names have power in identity. Others can use names as weapons. Names are a hook that can be used to track you across the plains.
Remain nameless, and you shall be safe. I am the Nameless One. With all 8 panels now pressed, the sarcophagus lid moves with ease. The locking mechanism has been undone. You open it, only to discover a single key lying within. I don't think Lothar will be pleased to learn this. There is no body, and more importantly, no skull. You stand in silence for a moment as you gaze at the contents of the sarcophagus.
What is it? What do you see?
Nothing.
What?
Just a key.
Oh. I'm sorry, Beck. Would you put me inside? Just imagine it. Going through all that, only to find this sorry sight. Rhys, the vulture. Worth it if you ask me.
All right. Rhys, the vulture. His ruined face relaxes into a smile, and the blue light tethering you to him fades away. You take the key and place Rhys's body on the coffin, sliding over the top, and leave the chamber behind. As you step into the corridor, the lights about you dim.
Oh no.
But instead of a glowing room, a shimmering portal, a vortex of the filth of the drowned nations. And you step through. Thank you for listening to Planescape Torment, the unofficial audio series, a RevocerGM production. To support the show and those involved, please consider subscribing to our Patreon or donating via our Ko-fi page. Links to both are in the description.